Tom Racine, San Diego Comics Fest. I'm here with Mark Richmond, who is painting this amazing, just freehand Superman, and I've got some other stuff, some Batman and his work. I'll show you on my B-roll. It's very exciting. So, what brings you here to the San Diego Comics Fest?
Mike Towery is a friend of mine, and I was friends with Shell Dorff as well, and
They were the original organizers.
organizers of Comic-Con. And so when he approached me about the idea of doing this whole new version, taking it back to the old school style, I was all in and agreed to do some of the graphics and so forth. And then in trade, I'm out here doing my own live art thing. So,
what's the allure, do you think, for something like this? It's not anti Comic-Con, the big stuff. It's more like just bring it back to kind of an intimate level. What's the allure for you for that?
for me to meet some of these writers without having to wait in a long line, or it's all hyped up over the actors who are in these stories. I want to know who's making the stories. So they're here, not all, but I mean, a good selection. So
do people come up and just start talking to you about your art?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't know what more to say about that than that, but yeah, I mean, I've had some great conversations about whether it's a movie or how I do this work, So yeah.
What's with the big stuff? What are you doing with this live? You just do this? You just do it freehand? Superman and Batman and Spider-Man. What kind of a performance?
Yeah, as far as this stuff, I mean, my typical stuff takes a couple of weeks to do. It'd be really boring to watch because I'd be working on a tiny little section. But I developed this a couple of years ago where I can do some very large pieces, and I can do it really quick because I'll use 2 or 3 colors and make a piece come alive.
What's your favorite superhero to draw?
Well, I like to do the Superman because of the cape, and I can do some pretty cool looking styles to it and everything, the details. So I would say it's probably my favorite superhero to paint live, right between that and Batman, because of the capes.
So what else do you work on? What's your main source of your art?
Well, 2 things. I do fine art, which takes on like a Japanese tattoo style to it, and then I'm working on a comic called Koala, which I'm co-writing and illustrating, and it takes that same style, which has a little bit of a graffiti hip-hop element to it, but it's not graffiti hip-hop related, and it still carries some of that Japanese style with it as well, that tattoo look, but in a comic. And this particular story is about a 10-year-old orphan girl and her artificially intelligent toy, and they're taking on a bunch of rogue robot toys to save the planet.
I like it already.
As I can put it.
That's the simplified version. I like that. It's an interesting mashup of styles. Where did you come up with that idea?
I started in about 1984 as a kid doing graffiti art and spray painting and all that. I got
in trouble
wild about that. Yeah. A little bit of trouble, but I managed to stay out of trouble. And then I moved on to study fine art in college, and I actually used graffiti as one of my senior year elements to work with. And then I moved on to oil paints, acrylic paints, doing canvases, because couldn't do big, huge pieces and make a living off of that necessarily. So I had to come up with a way to do that. About 6 years ago, I quit my day job, so now I'm doing this full time. So I've gotten much more serious about it. And that's why now you see prints and posters, and I'm working on a book and not putting all my eggs in one basket, just doing fine art, hoping a gallery picks me up. I want to dabble in the comics industry too, which has always been a love. So,
what was going to art school? I mean, were they accepting of graffiti art, comics? They always seem to be kind of pushed to the side. What was your experience with it?
And this was, I would say, early on in that. I was at San Diego State from '87 to '92. And I did a lot of graffiti murals for student organizations there, and then I talked to my professors in fine art. They were all about it. They were happy to see this new medium come about, and that I wasn't just another artist trying to paint, some forest or
Bob Ross.
Not that there's anything wrong with painting forests or painting like a Marilyn Monroe type thing, but I was on this whole other level that had a lot of street element, but here it's in a university, and not just only seen in the streets where some people don't want to go down and check out. Back in those days, it's a little bit different now. But
it's great that they're accepting. A lot of times you hear the stories just like, I want to be a comic artist, and they're like, go away, So it's nice that they actually rolled you in. So, all right, thank you for your time, sir.